Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parivradikacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Samsthapakacharya, Savior of the whole world, Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srimad-Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayed Nashtaprayesha Bhadresha Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 27. Chapter 27 is entitled Understanding Material Nature. Text number 3. Tena samsara padavim Tena samsara padavim avasho abhyeti anirvrataha avashobhyetyanirvrataha prasangikaihi karma doshaihi prasangikai karma doshai sat asat mishra yonishu sadasan mishra yonishu tena samsara padavim avashobhyetyanirvrataha prasangikai karma doshai sadasan mishra yonishu. Tena samsara padavim
avashobhyeti anirvrataha prasangikai karma dosai sadasan mishra yonishu
Tene samsara padavim avasho abhyeti anirvrataha prasangikai karma doshai sadasan mishra yonishu.
Tena samsara padavim
avashobhyeti anirvrataha prasangikai karma doshai sadasan mishra yonishu.
Tena samsara padavim avashobhyeti anirvrataha prasangikai karma doshai sadasan mishra yonishu.
Tena, by this samsara of repeated birth and death, padavim, the path, avashaha, helplessly, abhyeti, he undergoes, anirvrataha, discontented, prasangikaihi, resulting from association, with material nature. Karma doshai, by faulty actions. Sat, good. Asat, bad. Mishra, mixed. Yonishu, in different species of life. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. The conditioned soul, therefore, transmigrates into different species of life, higher and lower, because of his association with the modes of material nature. Unless he is relieved of material activities, he has to accept this position because of his faulty work. Please repeat this translation after me. The conditioned soul therefore transmigrates into different species of life, higher and lower, because of his association with the modes of material nature. Unless he is relieved of material activities, he has to accept this position because of his faulty work. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here the word karma doshai means by faulty actions. This refers to any activity, good or bad, performed in this material world. They are all contaminated faulty actions because of material association. The foolish conditioned soul may think that he is offering charity by opening hospitals for material benefit, or by opening an educational institution for material education. But he does not know that all such work is also faulty, because it will not give him relief from the process of transmigration from one body to another. It is clearly stated here, Sadasan Mishra Yonishu. This means that one may take birth in a very high family, or he may take his birth in higher planets, among the demigods, for his so-called pious activities in the material world. But this work is also faulty because it does not give him liberation. To take birth in a nice place or a high family does not mean that one avoids undergoing the material tribulations, the pangs of birth, death, old age, and disease. A conditioned soul under the spell of material nature cannot understand that any action he performs for sense gratification is faulty, and that only his activities in devotional service to the Lord can give him release from the reaction of faulty activities. Because he does not cease such faulty activities, he has to change to different bodies, some high and some low. That is called samsara padavim, which means this material world from which there is no release. One who desires material liberation has to turn his activities to devotional service. There is no alternative. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirmishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These are instructions by Lord Kapila. Lord Kapila is explaining Sankhya philosophy, the real Sankhya philosophy. There is a imposter Kapila who explains Sankhya philosophy in an atheistic way. So, first of all, we should understand the difference between the real Kapila and the atheistic Kapila. Real Kapila explains, analyzes matter consisting of 24 elements, but also explains the 25th element, which is the important understanding of what is reality, what is the truth, is the spirit soul, and 26th element is the super soul. So atheists, they only have knowledge about matter. They don't know what is spirit. They don't know who is God. They don't know the controller of both matter and spirit. So if you carefully study Prabhupada's books, you get all this very, very clear. See, Prabhupada says, complete knowledge means to know what is matter, what is spirit, and who is the controller of both. See how Prabhupada is perfect understanding to us. To understand what is matter, what is spirit, and the controller of both. So here, Lord Kapila is explaining, the atheist Kapila only analyzes matter consisting of 24 elements. And that also, where is he taking from? He's taking from the Vedas. He is giving a Vedic philosophy which is atheistic. The goal of the Vedas is Krishna, is God. But he comes up with the conclusion of atheism. See how dangerous it is to hear from the wrong source. There's like many times devotees. Some devotees, they say, I've read all of Prabhupada's books. Now, which book should I read? So they want to read some other books. So can we read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's books? Can we read the previous Acharyas' books? Of course, they are bona fide, those books written by the previous Acharyas. But how are you going to read? Do you know Sanskrit? And even if you know Sanskrit, simply reading, somebody who knows Sanskrit, reading doesn't help them to understand. Simply knowledge of the language doesn't help them to understand. Just like I know English, so if I read a medical textbook written in English, will I understand medicine, medical knowledge? Will I understand medical science? No way. So exactly like that, simply reading books is not going to help. So therefore, still we say, read Prabhupada's books, read Prabhupada's books. Please read Prabhupada's books. Why do you say read? That is for devotees who are engaged in the process of devotional service. Because that reading definitely should be accompanied by chanting, hearing, associating with devotees, and all the other angas of bhakti. Rupa Goswami says 64 items are there in practice of sadhana bhakti. Why 64 items? They are the different engagements possible in this human form of life, which will help us to advance in Krishna consciousness. Different activities performed with our body, that means with our senses, with our speech, and with our mind. See, this is some of the secrets revealed in Bhagavad Gita. The common man's understanding of action means activity performed with the senses. Sensual activity, bodily activity. They think that is activity, action. But Bhagavad Gita says that is action. Yes, this is one kind of action. there is another kind of action. Speaking is also action, activity. Like those who know the codes of criminal law. Okay? In the state, there is a law mechanism that's working. So, if you abuse a person verbally, the person can sue you in the court that he abused me. And then you will be actually penalized. So, if you're penalized, why are you penalized? Just because you vibrated the tongue and said something. What is the damage that is done? Oh, that is a criminal activity. It's a criminal activity. You see? So, Bhagavad Gita explains there is physical activity, there is verbal activity, and there is mental activity. Mind, action through the mind. Which means that if there are two kinds of activities, pious activities and sinful activities which we can perform. Obviously, we don't want to do any sinful activity because we know sinful activity will result in sinful reactions and we will suffer. So, you can perform a sinful activity even in your mind. Are you aware of that? You can perform in the mind. That is how Bhagavad Gita describes in the 5th chapter. That's why you carefully read Bhagavad Gita. It will clarify all such finer things about very basic things like how you can actually commit sinful activities not only through physical action but also through the speech and through the mind also. See this 11th verse and 5th chapter, interesting verse. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalair indriyairapi yoginaha karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. It's a very important verse in 5th chapter. The yogis, the meaning is abandoning attachment, sangam tyaktva, act with the body, kayena, mind, act with the mind, okay? Act with the mind, manasa, buddhya, act with the intelligence, and finally, indriyairapi, even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification. This is proper activity for a yogi. Yogi means a transcendentalist who aims at ultimate liberation from material bondage, which is the purpose of human life. So such a transcendentalist, he acts for what? Only for the purpose of purification. And what kind of activity? Activity done with the body, mind, intelligence, and even the senses. Actually, when in the Bhagavad Gita, elsewhere it is said, one can act through the body or senses, through the speech and mind. Here, speech is not given in this verse. Okay? And extra thing that is given here is body and mind. Intelligence. So, in that description, you can perform action through the body or through the speech or through the mind. The mind includes the mind and intelligence and the false ego also, the subtle body. And here, when it is said, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, you see, action through the senses, acting through the senses is not only the senses of action, but the senses of perception also. Just like Senses of action are the hands, legs, right? Hands and legs. Physical activity you can understand. But there is an action, sense of action called the organ of speech. So organ of speech is also a sense of action, because speaking is also acting, performing activity. So that is included in the senses, acting through the senses. But what about seeing? It's not a sense organ classified as karmendriya, it is jnanendriya. We use the eyes for seeing, for perceiving, for gathering knowledge, right? But still, acting through the senses also includes seeing. Seeing. Why? You see the wrong thing, it leads to wrong understanding and therefore wrong activity, sinful activity. So, acting through the body, mind, intelligence, senses, speech, kayena, manasa, buddhya, indriyaihi, or kaya, vacha, manasa, you see, action. Now here, Lord Kapila is drawing our attention to faulty action, karma doshai. So when we are in this material world, any material activity we perform is described here as faulty. All material activities are faulty. Whether they are good or bad, whether they are good or bad, both are faulty. I mean, bad activities are faulty, anyone can understand. It's easy to understand. How can we say good activities are faulty? That Prabhupada explains here. Particularly, he gives an example. One may think that he is offering charity by opening hospitals for material benefit. I'm doing some good activity. I'm trying to do some good activity, some pious activity. Even in the scripture, this is classified as giving charity is pious activity. But still, the person doesn't know that all such work is also faulty, because it will not give him relief from the process of transmigration from one body to another. Because I have done charity, it does not necessarily mean such all charitable work will not result in giving relief from the process of transmigration from one body to another. Now just think, what is this? Let's try to understand what is transmigration. Prabhupada uses the word transmigration of the soul or transmigration of the living entity. Why does Prabhupada use transmigration? So there are two words in English, migration and transmigration. So I just tried to find out what is the difference between migration and transmigration. Okay? So migration is described, I asked Gemini AI, what is the difference between transmigration and migration? Because I asked in the context of, Prabhupada uses the term transmigration of soul. He doesn't say migration of soul. So what is special about transmigration as opposed to migration? So it has given me a wonderful answer. So it says, both words mean movement from one state or location to another. But migration simply is a physical relocation from one place to another. Like birds migrate. You may migrate from India to America. That's why there's an immigration department to handle that migration, correct? Immigration department. People migrate from one country to another. But this transmigration describes a profound transition across fundamentally different dimensions of existence. You see? What happens when we transmigrate? Okay. In migration, You are within the same space. You are migrating in the same body from one place to another. Transmigration is you are changing your body completely. The physical body is completely changed. It's completely different body, new body, the physical body. So therefore it is called transmigration. And very nicely it is explained, transmigration is not horizontal movement, it is movement even vertically. Just like we may go from one species to another species. If somebody is performing very, very, very sinful activity, they degrade from human form to the form of an animal, or even an aquatic, or a bird, or a plant, or a tree. Nalakuvara Manigriva, they were cursed to become trees. Completely different. So in such cases, not only the body changes, but the change of the subtle body also, the mind also. So it's completely different in terms of the body and the mind. This transmigration is completely different. So therefore, transmigration of the soul is the eternal spiritual soul, the real you, the real living entity, shedding one covering and entering an entirely new, different covering, which is biologically and materially completely different. Biologically different and materially also different. So also, this migration, when we are traveling from one place to another place, maybe the places are different and you have to adapt yourself to something. But here, this transmigration is governed by laws of karma, which is very, 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 very subtle and complex. The laws of karma are very complex. And these laws of karma are governed by devatas. We don't even know about devatas. Common man doesn't even know devatas exist. And they are completely controlling our life, our senses, our body, our material existence, completely controlled. Every body has got limitation. Every body has got limitation. What we can do in one type of body is definitely determined by higher laws. Prabhupada says, simple example, a bird can fly without the help of a machine. But we cannot fly without the help of a machine. We cannot fly. This body, we can walk. A tree cannot walk. The tree body, it cannot walk. Chara, achara, two kinds of living entities, moving and non-moving. Stationary living entities. A mountain cannot move, cannot walk. Mountain is also a type of body for one living entity. So like that, transmigration means it is total change of body. At least the physical body is completely changed. Even the mind, the subtle body also, it undergoes change. Though it's not a total change, it's a change, it's a drastic change. It's quite a considerable change. So therefore, transmigration of the soul means it is completely different than migration. And here, Prabhupada says, foolish people do not understand that even if they do very pious activities, but they are material activities, they are not devotional service, they are not of the type of devotional service, then they don't realize they are transmigrating from one body to another. which is the real problem of material existence. This is a problem of material existence, transmigration from one body to another. So what is the defect? The defect is that wherever or whatever type of species he may take birth, even in a high family or a birth as a demigod, he cannot avoid undergoing the material problems of birth, death, old age and disease. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, dosha, anudarshanam. See, anudarshanam means repeatedly undergoing this difficulty, this misery of birth, death, disease, old age and disease. Even the demigods who have got much, millions of times more superior facilities for sense enjoyment, and they have knowledge what is sin, and they have got in-depth knowledge of what is sinful and what is pious, and they understand the laws which are working, and they themselves are in some position of responsibility for administering, for enforcing this law of karma. The demigods are enforcing authorities. Okay. But still, even they are not free from the fundamental miseries of birth, death, old age and disease. Even they are not free. So, when we do pious activities, thinking that, oh, these pious activities will give me better facility for material enjoyment, it's a fact that you do pious activities, you get better facilities in your next life for material enjoyment. Yes. But that does not mean you are freed from the fundamental miseries. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita, where is it explained? These 4 fundamental miseries, which chapter? 13th chapter. What is speciality about 13th chapter? There Krishna describes what is knowledge and gives what are 20 items of knowledge. Now this again, Bhagavad Gita, you have to read very carefully. The 3rd verse in 13th chapter describes what is jnana. Arjuna asked 6 questions in the beginning of 13th chapter. What is Prakriti, what is Purusha, what is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna, what is Jnana, what is Jnana. So Jnana, after describing what is Kshetra and Kshetrajna, Krishna concludes that, it ends that verse, 3rd verse, that Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Then, that is, he describes Kshetra as this body and Kshetrajna as the knower of the body. You, the individual living entity, is the knower of the body. And Krishna is also the knower of the body because he knows all bodies, whereas we know only our body. Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yattad jnanam matam mama. Knowledge means to know body and its owner. To understand this body and its owner is called knowledge. But in verses 8 to 12, Krishna says there are 20 items of knowledge. What constitutes knowledge? Etad jnanam iti proktam. All these 20 items he lists, I thus declare to be knowledge. So have you ever understood what's the difference between, I asked this question in one quiz, Bhagavad Gita quiz. What's the difference between the 3rd verse which says knowledge consists of, knowledge means to understand what is body and its owner. And here Krishna says 8 to 12, all these 20 items he lists, and he says all these I declare to be knowledge. Let me hear from you. What do you think is the difference between 3rd verse and verses 8 to 12 in the 13th chapter? Attempt, something you attempt, doesn't matter. Lakshmisha, tell something. How about? Which one? 20 items. Also deals with the consciousness, not just the difference between the body and the owner, or just knowledge of merely the body or the owner of the body.
Also
Okay, it
progress,
deals with the
like
consciousness.
accepting spiritual master, like progressing towards from the body
that's
to
correct. That's correct. There's a difference between analyzing body and analyzing knowledge as understanding knowledge as body and owner, and the 20 items. 20 items is a lot more detailed. But is it merely more detailed understanding of what is knowledge than just understanding it as body and owner? Or there's some fundamental difference in the definitions? The first sentence of the purport to 8 to 12, Prabhupada highlights this. See, Prabhupada's purports are very, very carefully written. Very carefully written. Prabhupada says in the purport, the 8 to 12, first sentence, this process of knowledge is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent men as being the interaction of the field of activity. But actually, this is the real process of knowledge. So 8 to 12 describes the process of knowledge. And the third verse describes what is knowledge? Constituent of knowledge. What constitutes knowledge? If you know what is body and who is its owner, you have knowledge. But this 20 items constitutes process of knowledge. Process of knowledge means, Prabhupada explains, actually this is the real process of knowledge. If one accepts this process, then the possibility of approaching the absolute truth exists. That means this is describing how you apply that knowledge of what is body and who is the owner. You apply that knowledge. How do you apply this knowledge? That Krishna is describing by telling 20 items. The process of knowledge results in doing 20 different things. So, humility, pridelessness, non-violence. You should act in such a way that you don't commit violence. Your activity should not result in violence. Non-violent. Be non-violent in your actions. Be prideless in your interactions with others. Be prideless. Like this, he describes 20 items. Now, in these 20 items, one of the items is perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, dosha, anudarshanam. These fundamental four miseries, because there are this material world already Krishna described in the 8th chapter is filled with miseries. So there are so many different types of miseries. But among all the miseries, 4 miseries are classified as fundamental miseries. Why? Because they exist everywhere in the universe. Some miseries are not there for the demigods. Some miseries which animals experience, human beings don't experience. Some miseries which human beings experience, demigods don't experience. Like that, there are different kinds of miseries in different kinds of places. But 4 are common for all the creatures. created beings. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha, Dosha, Anudarshanam. It is dukkha, these four miseries cause dukkha. And they are also dosha. That's exactly what is told here by Lord Kapila. Karma doshai. Faulty action. Because of faulty action, you are forced to transmigrate. And what is considered faulty action? All material activities, both pious and impious. Both. So, if you carefully study the second chapter, another interesting thing about second chapter is, Krishna describes that Buddhi Yoga means to neither do pious activities, material activities, nor do impious activities. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukruta dushkrute. A man engaged in devotional service, Buddhi Yoga means devotional service, rids himself of both good and bad actions. You see? Good and bad actions, both. Therefore, strive for yoga. Yoga means devotional service here. It doesn't mean Hatha Yoga. Which is the art of all work. Exactly what Kapila is telling here. What Krishna has told in the Bhagavad Gita, same thing Kapila is telling. Of course, Kapila has done a lot more detailed analysis and telling in a detailed way. Because Bhagavatam is the detailed presentation of the fundamental principles or the basic principles given in Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So, whatever is explained in the Bhagavad Gita is also explained in the Bhagavatam in great detail. But Bhagavatam enriches our understanding and our knowledge with so many examples, so many live case studies, you see. Different people, how they attempted to get rid of some reactions or lead a pious life and they failed. But who succeeded? Ultimately, only devotees succeed in achieving ultimate liberation. So, this verse, Lord Kapila is telling, because of our association with the modes of material nature, whatever material activity we do is faulty because it results in transmigration into different species of life. And fundamental reason for this transmigration is association with the modes of material nature. Therefore, Krishna says, while describing the modes of material nature, what is the way to transcend these modes of material nature? How to rise above the gunas? Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. You can transcend the modes simply by engaging in pure devotional service. That's all. Simple. Same thing Lord Kapila is telling. Unless he is relieved of material activities, he has to accept this position of because of his faulty work. He has to keep on changing bodies, changing bodies, changing bodies. He cannot get out of material existence unless he stops all material activities and takes up devotional service. So Prabhupada concludes his purport by saying, one who desires material liberation has to turn his activities to devotional service. There is no alternative. There is no alternative. So, Lord Kapila will explain that in detail, that we should take to devotional service. Any questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, you told that during transmigration of the soul, subtle body also changing. But as we understood earlier that only this gross body is changing and the same subtle body continue to...
Same in the sense, you see, first of all, gross body change is perceived as change because there is change of the body in terms of you are giving up this body and accepting a new body. From that point of view, we can say it's really a change. This mind, intelligence, and ego, the subtle body, you're not giving up the subtle body. But still, the subtle body also is undergoing change continuously because of your different kinds of actions and your response to different kinds of situations you are placed in by the changing material nature. So like you do something, you expect you will get success. But what if somebody does not get success? He's disappointed. His mind becomes affected, no? His mind changes, no? And even if he attains success, his mind changes. He becomes very happy. So mind is continuously changing, no? Mind is continuously changing. So we do not understand this fact that, first of all, we don't realize the body is changing. But if you become little Krishna conscious also, little advanced in spiritual life, you'll understand body is changing. But I am the same person. But then when you think I am the same person, you may think I am the mind. Because mind is not the gross body. It's different from the gross body. So, mind also is not yourself. To realize that is not easy. But even if you understand mind is not yourself, but still you think the mind is the same mind. Prabhupada says mind is not the same mind. Just like a child has the mentality of an immature child. Correct? And when you grow up, you become a mature person, your mind is not immature anymore. It is mature. You don't have the childish mentality. So it means your mind has changed. Now, what is this change of mind? Change of body we can easily understand. Change of body. What is this change of mind? Like body they analyze consists of cells. So yeah, we agree the cells are changing. They're destroyed and new cells are generated. Yes. But mind, is it consisting of cells? No, it doesn't consist of cells. What is the substance of the mind? Scientists are yet to figure out what is the substance of the mind. First of all, they don't accept. Modern day scientists don't accept. There is something called mind. But even if they come to know, Prabhupada says in course of time they will understand that there is something subtle. So, okay, they'll understand there is something called mind. Now so much research is going on, okay, regarding psychological, field of psychology, psychiatry, all that stuff. So much research is going on. So one day they'll understand there's something called mind. It really exists. It's not some theory of the scriptures. Okay. But what is the constituent of this mind? What is the constituent of the mind? Substance. What is substance? So, in scriptures it is told mind is also one of the material elements. It is one of the material elements. And there is a reservoir of the element called mind, a small portion of which is given to you when you are created. At what time? Beginning of creation. When Brahma creates. And Brahma creates, beginning of Brahma creating this universe. At that time, we don't have a subtle body, we don't have a gross body. Did you note that? We get even a new subtle body at the time of creation. Okay? So we get a new subtle body. And then, we get a new gross body also. That's understood anyway. So, this subtle body is also made up of substance. It's subtle element. We call it subtle element. It's not perceived through these five senses. Mind, intelligence and ego. But you know you have mind. You know you have intelligence. You know you have ego. Okay? You can understand that. Again, that is an understanding using our faculty of knowing. Faculty of knowing. That is the characteristic of the soul, to know. Kshetrajna. Jna means the knower, one who knows. So that knowledge or ability to know is a spiritual characteristic. Its characteristic is the spirit. Matter lacks that. Mind cannot know. Intelligence cannot know. Ego cannot know. You can know. Spirit, soul can know. So, the substance of the mind is something else, but that substance also is some characteristic that is constantly changing. Adibhutam ksharobhavaha. Krishna gives a fundamental definition when Arjuna asks, what is this adibhutam? Adibhutam, Krishna defines as ksharobhavaha. It is constantly changing. Endlessly mutable. Prabhupada's language is also very special. Endlessly mutable. Continuously changing. Mind is continuously changing. Actually, the body also continuously changing, but we don't mind so much because one body resembles the next body. Continuously changing, but it resembles. But when the drastic change of body happens at a time of death, then we cannot understand the body has changed. We cannot understand. It's a new body is also our self only, but its body is different. Anyway, mind continuously it is changing, continuously changing. Therefore, the mind is described always as chanchala, chanchalam hi manak Krishna pramati balavadrudam. See, you have to link all these verses. In the Bhagavad Gita, all the verses are connected. All the verses are connected. Have you ever thought Krishna describing adibhutam ksharobhavaha and Arjuna telling my mind is very restless, chanchalam hi manak Krishna. Did you link the two anytime? No, you're not linked. So study Bhagavad Gita very, very carefully to understand. So the mind is constantly changing. As well as the body is changing. But mind changing is very, very important to understand, because I am the same person. And the mind is, I am not changing. I am the same person. So, but the mind is changing. So therefore, I am not the mind. I am not the mind. So your question is, what is your question? How can you say the mind is changing? Mind is a different mind. Mind is always a different mind. It's never the same.
My question is, at the time of death, is the subtle body, the state of subtle body at the time of death will remain same in the next life, or then also change?
It is same in the sense of the little portion of that universal stock of mind, element called mind is given to you. That mind you keep on traveling with, from one body to another body, from one state of your present state of existence to the next moment. Again, you're carrying the same mind, but it's not the same mind. Mind is changing. It's like the body is changing. Similarly, mind is also changing. But this element, the substance is the same. You're carrying that mind which you have now. You're carrying the same mind to the next body. Yeah. But the state of mind or the quality of that mind is changing. Understand? Okay. Any other question? Grantaraj? Okay.
I have a different kind of a question, Maharaj. So you explained the meaning, the difference between migration
And
and
transmigration.
transmigration. That was interesting. Never thought about it. So the question is, how did Gemini answer this question in such a nice way? What inputs and who would have given the inputs to that AI that it threw up such an answer?
Prabhupada. I told, refer Prabhupada's books and give me the answer. That's how it is given. Prabhupada has explained this, difference between transmigration and migration. I am lazy. I didn't read Prabhupada's books to find out the difference. I conveniently told ChatGPT to do it. But actually, Prabhupada has explained this. Why he uses the word transmigration and not migration? Prabhupada explains this. See, please remember, every single thing that you have a question, Prabhupada has answered in his books. I've got so many reasons to prove this. This is a fact. Some other time I'll have a separate session to give you examples, examples after examples after examples. How I discovered answers to questions throughout my Krishna conscious career, except when I've asked somebody, get an answer. I myself try to find out. I don't know where to search. Okay, I'm very bad in searching in the database. Okay, where to search and what keywords to give. But Krishna, because I do the search and I fail, Krishna will nevertheless give me the answer. You know how I get the answer? My daily reading. My daily reading, I get answer to some question. I got answer to one question I had 25 years back. About 25 years back. I can't say exactly 25 years. 25 years back, I had a question. I've been trying to find the answer for that many times. I've discussed with people also, different devotees, and tried to get the answer. I could not get. One day I'm reading, suddenly I hit upon some statement by Prabhupada. I pause. Oh, this is the answer to that question I've been being bothered about. So, my request to you is, if you finished reading Prabhupada's books once, please read it again. Again and again and again, and you'll discover so many new things every time you read. Every time you read. I read Bhagavad Gita so many times. Many of you would have read. Every time I discover something new, though I'm reading the same words, but the depth of understanding that you can get by reading the same words is different each time you read. Each time you read is different. That's why it's so exciting to read the Bhagavad Gita again and again and again and again. I know I'm for sure something new I'll discover every time I open this book. And sometimes I randomly open and start reading. And there is an answer to some question I have in that reading. Or something new I discover in the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, my request to all of you is, please don't even attempt to read other books. Just read Prabhupada's books. And read repeatedly. Then only you deepen your understanding. You actually become more and more realized knowledge. Realized knowledge is not possible by one reading. No. Realized knowledge comes by repeated reading. By reading again and again and again. And anybody can get this realization. It's not anybody who's practicing Krishna consciousness under Prabhupada's protection can get this knowledge. Okay, I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada.